What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and yeah, look, this video was actually to talk about managers and plans that I would have for potential new owners coming in. But there's been a little bit of a side note tonight. The Premier League and Premier League clubs have agreed a deal where the new financial fair play rules essentially will be a percentage of the turnover of the club against the wages. So how that works is, if Everton have 50% of their turnover put against the wages, that means that Everton can spend up to another 35%, because I believe the cap is going to be 85%. They can spend 35% of the turnover on wages, is my understanding. So what that fundamentally would mean is that Everton could spend 85% of 200 million. Now, that doesn't work. It doesn't work for 6 very big reasons and 14 really negative reasons, and the 6 being the big 6 and the 14 being the 14 smaller clubs. This absolutely benefits the bigger clubs, the clubs that can attract bigger sponsorship deals, the clubs that can attract more money. You're talking about Manchester United on about building Wembley of the North and getting government funding and backing and all sorts of stuff. The turnover for that club is a joke. I'm sure it's over £1 billion. I think Spurs is the same. There's no way you can tell me that they can afford for their wage bill to be 85% of that, but yet they're allowed to potentially go up to that. You're talking the chasm between the top 6 and the rest will be massive. And for clubs like Everton, who were 25 years ago seen as one of the big 5 at the time. Jamie Carragher alluded to it in a show on Sky. It's a joke. It's a joke because fundamentally it means that clubs like Everton, like Villa, can never get back to the top of the league where they were, say, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Villa were European champions in 1982. Everton have won European Cup Winners' Cup and league titles in years like 85 and 87, etc. It destroys all of that. And for clubs like Newcastle, they'll be fine because I suspect they'll be able to get in these big deals, and these big sponsorship deals, and they can expand on St James's Park, etc. So in time, they will build and go up into this arena. But for clubs like Everton, we're not there. So the big 6 are going to have all this opportunity to go and sign players like Onana, like Branthwaite. The key talent from clubs like Everton and, like Palace, like Wolves, all of these key players, because they're just killing us. They're killing us. In my opinion, it's the worst thing to happen to football. I think the UEFA rules are a joke. I think the new Champions League model is a joke. The game that we all love is done. It's finished. And it's been going this way now for probably the best part of 10, 15 years, but it really is finished. It's gone are the days when you'd have like poor standard of refereeing, but you could have a debate with your mates. You can talk about what's gone on in the games, and there was no second guessing. We now have VAR, where it's actually made things worse, and it seems to benefit other clubs. I was talking to John about a conspiracy theory, and I firmly believe that the Premier League and Sky wants this 3-team battle for the last spot in the relegation spot in places, and this 3-team battle for the top of the league, because it creates entertainment, it creates revenue, it creates money, it creates excitement, it creates views, and that's what they want. They love it, and that's why I think, if I'm being honest, I thought Liverpool got done yesterday. I thought they were robbed. I thought that was a penalty at the end of the game, and I've watched it back a few times. I still think it's a penalty. So I think they were unlucky yesterday. You've seen it all season. Teams like Everton, we've had 1 red card given against an opposition, and we've had 1 penalty, both of which we didn't do anything with. But you had Manchester United this weekend play Everton and get essentially 3 penalties, but the last one was offside and then he blew the whistle. But there would have been 3 penalties in that game. And I'm not saying there weren't penalties, but my point is, Everton have had lots of penalties, but they haven't been given. It's just done. Like, the game is finished, and you can sit here and we can be agitated by it, and John was going to come on the video, and, you know, he ran me up, and I just lost it. I can't actually believe that Premier League clubs agree to this, and I actually think that more clubs, like the clubs outside the top 6, but with fantastic histories, should be kicking up more of a fuss. It's actually a joke. It's criminal. You know, you're talking about rule changes, which again benefit clubs like Manchester City and Chelsea, but then Forest and Everton have been done twice by it. You know, you've got Aston Villa, who I don't think have complied with profit and sustainability. You've got Chelsea that haven't complied with profit and sustainability. You've got other clubs that haven't, you know, covered haven't done the job around profit and sustainability. But yet it's Everton that get done twice and Forest potentially once, and then it's just scrapped. It's a joke. If that doesn't tell you how corrupt this league is, I don't know what else does. Yet Premier League clubs like Everton go, yeah, it's fine, yeah. Yeah, it's all good, carry on. I'm telling you now, if they had people like me and like other Everton fans who actually had the bottle to say something, it would be different. It would be different. It's a joke. It's a joke. I can't get my head around it. And I can't believe that from what I have read, I can't believe this is going ahead. And don't get me wrong, next season, when Everton have the bigger stadium, not next season, season after, when Everton have the bigger stadium and they may have a new naming rights deal, etc., then yeah, it benefits Everton as well. But we're building a 52,000 seat stadium. You know, it's not like this is a 70, 80, 90,000 seat stadium where, you know, everyone in the world is going to be going, yeah, look at that stadium, look how amazing that is. That's going to be the equivalent of when Roma left their old stadium and moved into the new one. No one cared. No one knew. No one was bothered. And that's going to be Everton to Europe. It's not like all of a sudden we're going to get this massive amount of investment from multinational corporations, because we're just not. We don't even know who owns us. We don't even know what's going on with that. I can't fathom it. And then on top of that, you know, me and John were going to talk about the Man United game, and look, John's on a different level. Like, John is on a different level because he doesn't know whether he's upset or angry, because he's emotionally drained by Everton, like they're killing him. And I sit there and look, we can't sack Dosh because we don't know who the owner is. But if whoever buys Everton or comes into Everton or Mashiri stays on at Everton, whatever it is, if they decide to change direction, then we've got to build a philosophy. I put a tweet out and I mentioned 6 managers, and some of the stick I got was ridiculous just from going, I'd change direction, because I don't want to watch Dyche ball, mate. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch long ball aimlessly forward to 2 wingers that can't deliver a ball, to a midfielder that can't beat a first man, to a striker that can't score a goal. I don't want to watch that. I want to watch a team that plays the ball on the deck and plays the ball through the channel, you know, looks for space, has the intelligence to stop the ball and think. We haven't got that. We've got nothing. So when I sit there and I think, do you know what? I semi-get and feel sorry for Dyche. But we're 11 games into this run. 11 games, and that includes some really poor performances as well, by the way. It's not like he just gets away with it. Wolves away. You tell it like that's an acceptable performance. You know, we Fulham at home in the cup. You know, what am I missing? So I just look, I can't even be bothered to explain, but look, the managers I mentioned were Graham Potter. Now, he probably wouldn't even come to Everton, but he's on my shortlist. And this is what people don't get. It's a shortlist. It's just people that I would have no issues with. And I actually would on a couple of people on the shortlist, but you know, we'll talk about them in a minute. But Graham Potter, I'd have no problem in coming into Everton, but I don't think he comes into Everton. I think he can work under the financial restraints, albeit we don't really know if we've got them in the future, so that's a tough one. The other one was Jose Mourinho. Look, Jose Mourinho would not join Everton, and he would bankrupt us. He would bankrupt us. The football would be turgid. However, I actually think it would be easier for these players to adapt to a Mourinho-style football, that defensive, that block, that not particularly entertaining, than it would go into a Potter. It would be an easier transition for them. So that was the reason why he was in there. Carlos Corberán. Look, he is the most underrated manager in England, in my opinion. He's at West Brom. They've done a phenomenal job on practically nothing. It's actually unbelievable, the job that he's done. So he would be right up there for me. He also learned, he was Bielsa's understudy. He knows exactly what he's doing. For me, he would be up there. He would absolutely be up there. David Moyes, for obvious reasons, I think he can build a decent side from very little, and he's proved it time and time again with Everton. He's proved it again with West Ham at times. Yes, he spent a bit more money and he's got himself in hot water, but I think he can do a job. The lad at Stuttgart, he's just signed a new deal, but he's got Stuttgart, who I think 2 years ago were a Bundesliga 2 side, to third in the Bundesliga, playing really good football. Really nice, aggressive football, doing exactly what they need to do. He'll be a top manager. He'll be a top manager. I think his name's Hoynes. He's got something. So he'd be in there. I can't remember the other one I mentioned. But that's just if they choose to change direction. But we're stuck. We're stuck with a group of players that can't finish a dinner. We're stuck with a manager that is too busy having pops at fans like me. You know, what did he refer to like fan channels like us? Keyboard warriors. I don't think you understand, Sean, that I've supported Everton for 32 years of my life. Right? Not 18 months, mate. 32 years of my life. And if I think things are going wrong, I'm going to say it. I actually don't give a toss if you don't like what we say, because we're allowed an opinion. And if you don't like it, call me a keyboard warrior. Call whoever you want a keyboard warrior. I don't give a toss. I don't care. So that annoys me. And the other thing that he said, and I actually can't get over he said this. In my opinion, this is a sackable offence, what he said, or my understanding of what he said. And he basically said that God, my hair's falling out, I'm so stressed. He basically said that the academy is shit. He basically come out and said there's nothing coming through the academy. And you've got players like, I think his name's Ebriel, who scores a hat-trick of the weekend. Now look, the under-18s are fourth bottom of the Northern Premier League. So, yeah, there isn't much talent there. But you don't need to say it. You just have to work on it, Sean. You just have to develop it and fix it. We can see there's not loads of talent there because you're not putting any of it on the pitch. You know, I think, is it Mackenzie Hunt or whatever he is? He's been sitting on the bench for every game for God knows how long. He's not had a minute. So obviously you don't back him. You know, we haven't seen Lewis Dobbin half as much as we should have. We haven't seen Chimiti half as much as his £15 million spend for no apparent reason, to be honest. I mean, if we had £15 million to spend in the summer, Sean, it wouldn't have been on Chimiti. Because, not that I'm saying I don't rate him, not that I'm saying he ain't going to be a future superstar, but that's not what we needed at the time. We needed £15 million worth of footballer. Like, our player. You know, we're going to get minutes, going to see him. I just sit there and I just think, do you know what? I don't. You can't tell me that all of a sudden he's calling out fan channels, calling out the academies, calling out the players, saying they're not good enough. What he's doing is he's distancing himself from the football club for when he gets the chop. That's what he's doing, because he's basically going, My ego's here, Everton are here. And at one point, they were joined, and now Sean's going. That's what he's doing. He's distancing himself. Because I don't get it. I don't get it. I really, really like Sean Dyche as a person. But some of the things he's doing is criminal. And I get he's got so much rubbish to work with. I get it. But you know what? I'd happily see 45 minutes of Chimita starting again just to see what he can do. You know, it's unfair to consistently give Calvert-Lewin 21 games worth of opportunities when you could have a young kid on the bench that might do it, might not do it, but he might do it. Because at the minute, Lewin's not doing it. So I'd rather go with the might and a player that's got a point to prove and wants a seat at the table than playing a player that for the last 21 games has been a shadow of him former self. You know, you've got Beto who works really hard, but £30 million. And this is where Kevin Thirlwell gets away with it as well, because Kevin Thirlwell has bought in Harrison, he's bought in Chimita, he's bought in Beto, and he's got this fantastic relationship with Sean Dyche. Yet them three players, it's not Dyche's fault that he's got nothing to play with. I'm sure Dyche would have signed off on that. Because if he wouldn't have, then how is their relationship good? None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. And I almost ain't bothered. It sounds terrible. I'm almost not bothered. We've got 3 weeks without a game. And I'm genuinely chuffed at that. Because I don't have to think about them. I don't have to stress about them. I don't have to get up in the middle of the night. The first thing I check is Everton in the news to see if there's any news from America, because they go to bed a little bit later than we do. You know, I'm done with stressing about them. I'm done. The whole club is rotten. The whole club. And it's affecting everyone. It's affecting everyone. You've got fans having a go at fans on Twitter for no reason. Literally no reason. You know, I don't care whether your opinion is that Onana is the best footballer in the world or he's the worst footballer in the world. I don't care, because the facts are, when there's 11 men on that pitch, I literally will back you until the end of the earth. But you're not giving us anything back. You're not doing it. And I'm just mentioning Onana there just because he's been a divisive figure. You know, I don't have any issues with Onana personally, but I know some fans have. It just frustrates me. And you can tell, you know, with the rule change, with Everton being Everton, with this other points deduction looming over our heads, the fact that we can't win at home, you know, some of the teams we've lost against at home is criminal. And it's not even that. It's some of the results that we've had at home where we've been in the lead and we're meant to be. You know, what did somebody say to me? Sean Dyche is the best manager to win a 1-0 game. Well, I haven't seen that this season. I've seen Everton win 3-0. I've seen us win 2-0. I've seen us win 1-0 a couple of times. But I haven't seen us win 1-0 many times in games where we've really needed to. You know, the West Ham game where we're 1-0 up and then the energy's just boom. You know, the Brighton game where we're 1-0 up and we're against 10 men and we fall apart. We end up playing like the team with 10 men. You know, the Brighton game at Goodison where again we're 1-0 up, 85th minute, and we bottle it. You know, I'm just sick to the back teeth of people saying to me, yeah, Dyche is, you know, what can he do? What can he do? Well, I'll tell you what, he can just change it. He can just do something, because the fact that we're not reacting is actually a negative. But look, it's just my opinion. I'll never throw anyone under the bus for that. And if you disagree with my opinion, that's fine. But for me, I'm really struggling at the minute with this team. I'm really struggling with this club. You know, I travel all these miles to just watch home games, and it destroys you. It absolutely destroys you. No, and I don't know how much more I can do it. I don't know how much more I can do it. And this isn't just Everton based, this is just football in general now. The Premier League is rotten. The clubs, the money involved, it's all about greed. You know, literally the match going fan means nothing anymore to 90% of Premier League clubs. No, maybe not that much. Maybe 50% of Premier League clubs. And the rest of it is just money, turnover, you know, vanity projects. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. You know, we're all living in a rich person's playground, and the Premier League, unfortunately, appears to be the richest, and it is turgid. It is absolutely turgid, and the game that we all love is gone. It's gone. So yeah, look, there's your rant. That's what you got. You've got a 21-minute rant going out really late because I'm just angry. Sorry. I'll leave it there. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you want to, and I'll see you soon. Peace.